Namaste everyone. Thank you for joining in this in this video. So today we'll be discussing in brief about Maran, Karak, Sthan, Grahas and their remedies. Okay. So Maran, Karan, Sthan is a dreadful condition where a Graha placed in a certain house of the horoscope will give death-like pain. That is what it is. And that is what the theory says. Okay. So before we get into this video with the remedy, kindly subscribe to this channel. And if you want a consultation or if you want to discuss your chart, then you can always call or WhatsApp at the given number. Okay. All right. So Jataka Parijata by Vaidyanath Dikshit mentions in the chapter on Kala Chakra Dasha the various inauspicious bhavas for the 8 planets, which excludes Ketu. So these bhavas are particularly known as the Marana Karak Sthana. Now, we can extend on that principle and say that for Mercury and Ketu, the 4th house placement gives effects which is similar to Marana Karakasthana, and this can be studied. So some traditions will also say that the 2nd house is also Maran Karan Sthan for Ketu, but then a planet in Maran Karakasthana can give death-like suffering or death-like pain. However, this inauspiciousness is removed if the Graha is strong due to day or night birth. Okay, so the Grahas which are strong during the day, they are Surya, Guru, okay, and Surya and Guru, they are the day strong Grahas, okay, and Ketu as well. Some traditions will include Ketu. And the Grahas which are strong during the night, they are Chandra, then Mangala, Shukra, and Shani. Okay, Mercury is strong in both the day as well as the night, and amongst the night strong Grahas, some traditions will also include Rahu. So the day strong Grahas are Surya, Guru, and Ketu. The night strong Grahas are Chandra, Mangala, Shukra, Shani, and Rahu. And Buddha is both day strong as well as night strong. Now we have to also understand the reason why a planet becomes MKS in certain houses. Okay, so if you look at this table, right? If you look at this table, then Surya becomes Maran Karak Sthan in the 12th house. Why 12th house? Because 12th house is the house of giving away. And Surya, the king, he does not want to give away his kingdom. Chandra, 8th house, because 8th house is the house of sudden transformations, sudden changes, and that can, that can be very detrimental to the mind, because the mind does not want change. The mind wants certainty. The mind wants security. Okay, 8th house is the removal of that security. Okay. Mangala again, 7th house, because Mangala is the soldier and 7th house is the house of marriage. So if you put a soldier with a female, then the soldier cannot fight. Okay, Mangala is also the Karaka for your individuality. And in the 7th house, you are sharing your individuality with someone. Buddha again in the 7th house, because Buddha is the young prince. He does not want to be, he does not want to be caged in responsibility, because 7th house brings responsibility. You give a very young child in marriage to another child, and the results will be disastrous. That is the reason Buddha becomes MKS in the 7th house. Guru, 3rd house. Why 3rd house? Because 3rd house is the house of efforts. 3rd house is the house of your parakrama. You cannot expect a Brahmin like Jupiter to show parakrama in the market or in the field. Okay. Shukra, 6th house, because 6th house is the house of competition. 6th house is the house of divorce. Shukra, the agenda of Shukra is to make people meet. Okay, Shukra wants people to mate. Shukra wants people to get married. And 6th house being the house of divorce, Shukra feels death-like pain. Shani, 1st house, because Shani is one Graha which likes to remain at the back. Shani is the servant. Shani wants to come last. But when you put him in the house of Surya, the house of self, Shani feels death-like experience. Okay, Shani is also the Karaka for death, and 1st house is life. Right? So that is the reason Shani becomes MKS in the 1st house. Rahu, 9th house, because Rahu is the highest adharmi. Rahu wants to have shortcuts. Rahu wants to achieve everything all at once. Rahu does not want to follow the rules. And 9th house is the house of rules and regulations. Ketu fourth house, because Ketu is the sannyasi. So if you are asking a sannyasi to have a family in the fourth house, then it will feel death-like pain. Okay, so these are the reasons why these grahas become MKS in the following houses. Right now, let's look at the let's look at the impact of MKS grahas. Okay, so if the graha is placed in its own or exalted sign, right, then despite being MKS, the native will work hard to overcome them. Okay, however, there is no absolute rule that signifies that MKS will not apply to any graha. Okay, for example, if Mars is in the 7th house and then Mars is in Cancer, then it is said that the the effects of MKS does not apply, but then the negative effects will still be visible, and the person will lack a good judgment in matters pertaining to the house whose lord is placed in the Maran current sthana. For example, suppose Buddha is placed in the 7th house and Buddha lords the 4th house or lords the lords the 9th house, then errors will come from matters related to the 4th house as well as from the matters related to the 9th house. That's how you will interpret the MKS result. Okay. Now the suffering of the Marankaran Sthana is enhanced by malefic affliction to the sign lorded by the Graha, which is in MKS. For example, suppose the 10th lord is placed in MKS, then afflictions to the 10th house itself will be the cause of suffering. Again, additionally, if 2 or more malefics afflict such a sign, then it can be seen as a curse which can give terrible suffering. Okay. So what is the remedy for this? The remedy is to worship the Pratyadi Devata of the house Karaka. For example, suppose if Mars is in the 7th house, then the Karaka of the 7th house being Venus will give the remedy. Okay. So continuing the same example, suppose Mars is in the 7th house and the Karaka of the 7th house is Venus. So the Pratyadi Devata of Venus is Lakshmi, and that is the mantra which will remedify the problem. Okay, so for Surya, the Pratyadi Devata who will resolve the issue is Narayana. The mantra is Om Namo Narayanaya. Then for Chandra, it is again Narayanaya, Om Namo Narayanaya. For Mangala, it is Lakshmi, Om Shri Lakshmiyai Namaha. For Buddha, again, it is Lakshmi, Om Shri Lakshmiyai Namaha. For Guru, it is Rudra, Om Rudraya Namaha. For Shukra, it is Narayana, Om Namo Narayanaya again. For Shani, it is Shiva, Namah Shivaya. For Rahu, it is Om Gurave Namaha or Om Namah Shivaya. Okay. So you can take, for Rahu, you can take the Pratyadi Devata to be Guru or as Sadashiva. Okay. And for Ketu, it is Gauri. So it is Om Gauriyai Namaha. So how long to do these mantras? Look at the syllables. Om Namo Narayana, 1, 2, 3. So 3 malas. Here we have 4 syllables. Om Shri Lakshmiyai Namaha. So 4 malas. So for Shani, there are only 2 syllables. So 2 malas. Okay. So depending upon the number of syllables, you'll have different malas for the for the mantra, and you have to do this mantra for 6 months continuously to reap any benefit out of it. Okay, that is how you look at it. So that's it from my end today. Thank you for joining in. And if you have any queries or if you have any, if you want to reach out, then you can kindly reach out at this number. Thank you so much. Om Gurave Namaha.